Good afternoon, this is the Barrel Gang. Now, if everybody will just take it easy, nobody will get hurt.
Number 20, Tom Hardy as the Kray twins. Legend. Let's be real here, Tom Hardy is great in everything.
Now, before we start, got a little joke for you. You'll love this one. Paranoid schizophrenic who walks into a bar.
But he exudes that wonderful mixture of quiet ferocity and professional respectability that makes his dual performance as the Kray twins so fascinating. See also Lawless, where Hardy portrays Prohibition-era gangster Forrest Bondurant.
This ain't about the goddamn money. This is about a goddamn principle.
The Kray twins were brothers Ronnie and Reggie, and they were regarded as celebrities in the 50s and 60s.
Knows too many things about us. Right, Albie, do you know things about us?
They ran the East End of London, mingled with prominent celebrities of the time, and were involved in the likes of murder, arson, and protection rackets.
There's 500 there, right? So that's half. Yeah? You get the rest when it's done. You count it all because it's all there, and you can put it in your little pocket.
Critics didn't adore the movie, but most agreed that Hardy was spectacular in the dual role, leading to numerous award nominations and wins.
That goes to show you can give a dog a bad name, but when that dog's name is Kray, it might bite you back. Well done. Well done, man.
Number 19, Johnny Depp as James Whitey Bulger Jr., Black Mass.
When did you get out of Alcatraz?
That's nearly 10 years ago.
Johnny Depp's performance as Whitey Bulger was seen as a massive comeback for the charismatic star, following a string of critical and financial disappointments like Mordecai and the Lone Ranger.
We had the rackets, we had the ponies, tenants on every corner.
This ain't your neighborhood, Whitey.
Is that right?
Black Mass follows the story of Boston crime boss and FBI informant Whitey Bulger.
You have a hand in the world highlight, huh? And suddenly, the new owner gets shot. I suggest you think these things through before you make unfounded accusations against me.
By 1999, Bulger was considered the second most wanted person on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, directly behind Osama bin Laden. Critics called it one of Depp's finest performances, with many considering him legitimately frightening and intimidating. His was perhaps the biggest Oscars snub of the year.
I was just saying.
You were just saying. Just saying gets people sent to Allenwood. Just saying got me a 9-year stretch in Leavenworth and Alcatraz. You understand?
Number 18, Sean Penn as Mickey Cohen, Gangster Squad.
A minute ago, you were begging. That's when I thought you were a man. But you're something else. You're rotten.
While the stylized film itself was only so-so, Penn embodied the spirit of the ex-boxer turned gangster.
That wasn't murder. It was progress. I am progress.
As the main antagonist of the movie, every time he's on screen, he's a powder keg of emotion, often erupting at the slightest provocation. He's loud, brash, and unwilling to back down even as the cops are closing in on him.
Come and get it, Cohen!
Here comes Santa Claus!
Penn strikes a perfect balance between cocky and calculating when portraying this mafia member and king of the Sunset Strip. Number 17, James Cagney as Martin Snyder, Love Me or Leave Me.
Can I give you a lift someplace? Oh, I'm just trying to be agreeable. Don't do me no favors.
Cagney is one of the greatest movie stars of all time, and his turn as Mo the Gimp is nothing short of extraordinary. Mo the Gimp's real name was Martin Snyder, a Chicago gangster active in the 20s and 30s.
Nobody but me. Oh, everybody loves my baby, but my baby don't love nobody but me.
The film follows his relationship with singer Ruth Etting, who became known as America's sweetheart of song for her dozens of hit records.
Could you, just once, show some plain common enthusiasm?
What do you want, a thank you note?
Snyder managed Etting's career, often pulling personal and political favors from his associates.
And there's going to be a sign. Martin Snyder presents Ruth Etting. That way everybody will know who's boss, like you know.
Cagney perfectly conveys the volatile depth and unhinged violence of Snyder, and he earned himself an Academy Award nomination for his efforts. It was his third and last nomination.
He had it coming to him. I told him I was going to let him have it.
Number 16, Vincent Cassel as Jacques Mesrine, Mesrine. This French film has often garnered comparisons to Brian De Palma's Scarface, although this one is actually based on a true, albeit extraordinary, story.
Monsieur, madame, j'ai le regret de vous annoncer que vous venez de vous faire cambrioler.
Edouard!
French criminal Jacques Mesrine was a horrible man, responsible for numerous murders, kidnappings, and bank robberies.
Pour les hommes, une balle dans la tête. Pour les salopes comme toi, une mort de salope. Combien tu voulais me la vendre? Combien tu voulais me la vendre? Hein? Combien tu voulais me la vendre?
Throughout his career, Mesrine earned the moniker the Man of 100 Faces, as he had an incredible penchant for disguising himself and evading capture.
Continue, lâche pas.
He also escaped from prison on numerous occasions and once attempted to kidnap his sentencing judge. Vincent Cassel's performance as Mesrine was universally lauded, with the New York Times calling him a combination of Robert Mitchum and Robert De Niro.
Après ça, si on nous attrape, c'est sûr, on est bon pour la corde.
Ouais, c'est ça. Dog ou mort.
It doesn't get much better than that. Number 15, Mark Wahlberg as Daniel Lugo, Pain and Gain.
Come on, big man. Work it, baby. Come on. Let's go.
Despite the somewhat goofy title that makes it sound like a wrestling movie, Pain and Gain is a decent action comedy that proves one of Michael Bay's more respectable efforts.
I read a lot of biographies, sir, and the one thing that unites great men is their reach always exceeds their grasp.
Bay knows how to work with his actors, generating fantastic comedic chemistry and some strong performances, particularly from Mark Wahlberg in the role of Daniel Lugo.
You're gonna tell your baby mamacita she's gonna take that kid and go home to Colombia immediately, and she tells no one, especially la policía.
Lugo was the manager of Miami's Sun Gym and de facto leader of the Sun Gym Gang, a group of bodybuilders who were responsible for 2 murders and a kidnapping in the 1990s.
What do you say, John?
He wants his stuff back. He wants all of it.
Did you forget he gave it to me?
Despite numerous historical inaccuracies and some questionable depictions of the criminals, Wahlberg's performance is typically excellent and charismatic, and more than a little scary.
Shit! What's wrong with it? How the hell am I supposed to know?
Was it plugged in?
Yeah, it's plugged in. Well, press the button.
Number 14, Johnny Depp as John Dillinger, Public Enemies. Before he was Whitey Bulger, Johnny Depp proved that he could play criminals with exceptional aplomb in his role as John Dillinger.
What is it exactly you do for a living?
John Dillinger, rob banks.
Dillinger is one of the most famous gangsters in American history, known for twice escaping from jail and robbing 24 banks throughout the country. He was enormously popular at the time thanks to exaggerated media accounts, and he was famously gunned down outside Chicago's Biograph Theater on July 22, 1934. His story was told in Michael Mann's Public Enemies, and Depp's performance as Dillinger garnered rave reviews. It's Depp at his most natural and human, not bogged down by heavy makeup or goofy accents.
We could go away on it. We grab a Pan Am Clipper to Caracas, scoot on over to Rio for some fun in the sun, slide off the map.
There's clearly something about him that makes for a compelling gangster. Number 13, Delroy Lindo as West Indian Archie, Malcolm X. In 1992, Spike Lee released the incredible Malcolm X, based on the autobiography of the legendary figure.
So how can I get a hold of you?
You can't. I get a hold of you.
Denzel Washington appears in the titular role, while Delroy Lindo plays gangster West Indian Archie.
Stick 'em up. Boom.
Hey, Archie.
Archie co-operates an illegal numbers racket with Malcolm and eventually confronts him over some gambling winnings. The story of Archie comes primarily from the 8th chapter of Malcolm X's autobiography, where it's claimed that a tense confrontation with Archie was one of the reasons for Malcolm fleeing Harlem. Such a dangerous and threatening person requires a great actor, and Delroy Lindo portrays Archie with just the right amount of eerie discomfort.
You buy yourself something nice.
Number 12, Cliff Curtis as Pablo Escobar, Blow. It doesn't get much worse than Pablo Escobar.
And for those of you living on the moon for the last 20 years, he was it, the boss of it all.
Escobar is perhaps the most famous drug runner in history, known for creating and leading the Medellin cartel.
Oh, this man. He was full of courage.
Informant?
Sí, una rata.
His cartel dominated the American cocaine trade, leaving Escobar with an estimated net worth of some $30 billion.
These complications with Diego. The stolen cars, getting him released from the castle. This causes me much inconvenience.
The cartel was also incredibly dangerous and killed upwards of 3,500 people, including hundreds of innocent civilians in plane and truck bombings. In Ted Demi's Blow, Escobar is portrayed by Cliff Curtis.
Estoy contento. Bueno, let us speak no more of this business. Let's go for a drive. We have many other things to talk about, yes?
Blow follows the story of George Young, played once again by Johnny Depp, an American cocaine smuggler who worked for Escobar and the cartel.
I've made a decision. We're going into business together. I want to start right away.
Curtis does a stellar job portraying the outwardly friendly yet viciously violent Escobar. Number 11, Tim Roth as Dutch Schultz, hoodlum.
Hey, bub. You're gonna kill my English ivy tree there.
There's a toss-up in this film between Roth's performance and Lawrence Fishburne's portrayal of Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson.
You might want to lower that a little bit. Hit me in the heart.
But Roth edges him out.
You got nuts the size of watermelons.
Dutch. Enough with the compliments.
Even though Schultz is the associate of mob boss Lucky Luciano, who is portrayed with sardonic verve by Andy Garcia, it's hard to believe this guy is taking orders from anyone. He's wild on screen, and there's something about his character that's slightly unhinged.
Cecil?
Yes, sir.
If you're lying, you know what I'm gonna do to you, right?
Yes, sir. I know.
So long as you know.
It seems that Dutch is the one calling all the shots as he orders hits and tries to double-cross his boss. Number 10. Joe Pesci as Russell Bufalino, the Irishman. Much was made of The Irishman owing to its awesome cast, which includes the likes of Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci in an exceedingly rare role. Pesci played Russell Bufalino, the acting boss of the Bufalino family of northeastern Pennsylvania. If The Irishman is to be believed, this crime family was responsible for the murder and famous disposal of Union leader Jimmy Hoffa.
It's at a point where you're gonna have to talk to him and tell him it's what it is.
What it is?
Yes, it's what they want.
Both The Irishman and Pesci's performance earned widespread acclaim, leading to his third Academy Award nomination and first since 1990.
I told you before, we tried everything to help him. You know that. You tried. He brought this on himself.
The nomination was fully deserved, as Pesci is utterly magnetic throughout the long movie, particularly at the end when the elderly Bufalino and Frank Sheeran are reminiscing on their time together.
Jimmy was a good man. You know? A nice family, too, huh? Yeah. Well, I never wanted it to go that far.
Number 9, Robert De Niro as Al Capone, The Untouchables.
I grew up in a tough neighborhood. And we used to say you can get further with a kind word and a gun than you can with just a kind word.
Rod Steiger's depiction in the 1959 biopic was a complex, unglamorous portrayal of Capone. But leave it to De Niro to blow anyone else out of the water.
Come on, Capone, you want to fight? You want to fight, you and me, right here? That's it, come on. What's the matter? You afraid to come out from behind your men? You afraid to stand up for yourself?
You want to do it now? You want to go mad now?
Standing out in a film like this isn't a cakewalk, with Billy Drago also giving a great performance as the real-life Frank Nitti.
Man should take care, see that nothing happens to you.
But De Niro is truly terrifying as this Prohibition-era criminal mastermind.
You're here because you got nothing. You got nothing in court. You don't got the bookkeeper. You got nothing.
Using rough dialogue and a commanding nature to intimidate Agent Elliot Ness, but also standing tall as a high-profile member of society.
You got an all-out prize fight? You wait till the fight's over, one guy's left standing, and that's how you know who won.
Number 8, Jack Nicholson as Jimmy Hoffa, Hoffa.
Cross the line! Join the Teamsters!
Even though the movie only met with fair reviews, Nicholson perfectly embodies this larger-than-life Teamsters boss.
I heard that before.
Mostly told in flashbacks, it tells the story of how Hoffa came to be such a powerful political figure and enemy to JFK, among others.
That Mr. Kennedy propounds here lack only the merit of being true. This three-ring circus with the newspapers and the TV and the media and all the rest of it is designed and intended to bring him to the public eye.
Nicholson is quietly menacing, and it's easy to tell he's not someone to be messed with.
So I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. Don't ask for something. It's a burden to you if you get it.
He brings his trademark poker face to the role, making it impossible to guess what he's thinking. Number 7, Al Pacino as Benjamin Lefty Ruggiero, Donnie Brasco.
Dunsky. You call me a Dunsky.
You know who you're talking to, my friend?
Ruggiero would strictly be the bad guy in any other film, but in this portrayal, his character is much more complex. His friendship with undercover agent Donnie Brasco shows that he's more than a killer. He's a low-on-the-totem-pole mafia man who's been passed over for promotions and has a son at home who's struggling with drug addiction.
30 years I'm busting my hump. What do I got? Even a dog gets a warm piece of the sidewalk.
Pacino's Ruggiero is a man with everyday problems, so it's almost easy to understand why he does what he does.
Who am I? I'm a spoke on a wheel.
Number 6. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway as Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. Bonnie and Clyde.
This here's Miss Bonnie Parker. Glad to meet you. I'm Clyde Barrow. Right.
This landmark film broke numerous Hollywood taboos of the time, including depictions of sexuality and graphic violence. Both are highly necessary for this tale.
Good afternoon. This is the Barrow Gang. Now, if everybody will just take it easy, nobody will get hurt.
Bonnie and Clyde became two of the most famous gangsters in American history via the Barrow Gang in the 1930s. This gang is known for their countless robberies, murders of both police officers and civilians, and for the resulting media sensationalism, particularly in regards to the depiction of Bonnie Parker.
One time I told you I was gonna make you somebody. That's what you done for me. You made me somebody they gonna remember.
Their story was re-energized in 1967 with the release of the film starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway in the titular roles. Despite some controversial glamorization, their performances earned widespread acclaim and both received Academy Award nominations. Number 5. Warren Beatty as Benjamin Bugsy Siegel, Bugsy.
No woman's worth a bullet between the eyes. Am I right or wrong? Depends on whose eyes and which woman.
When you've also portrayed the iconic Clyde Barrow, playing the tough guy starts to come naturally.
Did you think you could get away with it? Did you think you could steal from me? From Maya Lansky, Charlie Luciano, and me, and get away with it? That you could rape us?
At least that's the case with Warren Beatty when he depicts mobster turned hotelier turned Vegas big shot Bugsy Siegel.
Crawl! Crawl! Come on. Now bark! Like the dog that you wish that you were decent enough to be!
Beatty plays Bugsy as a man with a vision others can't see who decides to start a hotel casino in the desolate terrain of Las Vegas. He's a complicated man trying to keep the love of his woman while gambling on their future. But that doesn't make him soft.
Maybe I thought I'd buy us a couple of hot dogs at Coney Island.
Number 4. Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher Cutting, Gangs of New York.
On my challenge, by the ancient laws of combat, we are met at this chosen ground to settle for good and all.
Day-Lewis is one of those actors that completely transforms themselves on screen, and he's almost unrecognizable as the Butcher.
A command performance indeed!
His demeanor is completely changed, and he comes across as a caged animal ready to attack at any moment. And his best scenes are when he's doing his worst.
Whose man are you? We speak English in this country. Whose man are you? You see this knife?
Though the character is not exactly a true-to-history portrayal of the real Bill the Butcher, whose family name was Poole, not Cutting, this role still earns Day-Lewis the 3rd Oscar nod of his career.
That, my friends, is the minority vote.
Number 3. Robert De Niro as Sam Ace Rothstein, Casino.
You're out. Get out. Go on. Let's go.
In his second spot on our list, De Niro displays again that he and his Goodfellas co-star Joe Pesci have great chemistry, as they portray business partners in the Las Vegas casino industry.
Careful, gaming agents are all over the place.
So I'm lucky. I'm not allowed to get lucky in this place.
I'm lucky all week. They're looking to nail you.
As a gambling handicapper, De Niro depicts Rothstein as someone calculating, methodical, and more conservative than his partner.
I want you to put an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin. An equal amount of blueberries in each muffin.
Sam doesn't let anything slide past him, though, and his attention to detail leaves him as the only one unscathed. Number 2. Denzel Washington as Frank Lucas, American Gangster.
So you are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody, or you're nobody.
As Harlem heroin dealer turned kingpin Frank Lucas, Washington gives one of the strongest performances of his career. He takes Lucas's Scarface-like tale and paints it as the classic American success story of working hard to achieve your dreams. But in his case, working hard means hiding heroin underneath the coffins of soldiers on their way back from Vietnam. The movie may have fictionalized some aspects of Lucas's life, but every bit of this performance is believable.
I got Harlem, Richie. I took care of Harlem, so Harlem's gonna take care of me. You can believe that.
Number 1. Ray Liotta as Henry Hill, Goodfellas.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh.
As great as Joe Pesci is as Tommy DeVito, we have to give this one to Ray Liotta as Henry Hill.
But I had the feeling Jimmy was trying to sense whether I was going to rat him out to save my neck.
He's the man who became an FBI informant and helped take down 50 of his mob pals. And it's Liotta's depiction of Hill as an outsider that makes this performance so memorable.
To become a member of a crew, you've got to be 100% Italian so they can trace all your relatives back to the old country.
Viewers sympathize with this man who grew up in the mafia culture and proudly proclaims at the beginning of the film,
"As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster."
Even the real-life Hill praised Liotta's performance, often appearing in the media in support of the film. We don't want to know what he would have done had he not liked it. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.